Ми чекаємо рішення, очищення неба.
Almost 3 weeks passed. The conflict is still on. When will Russia stop invading Ukraine? What will be the future of Ukraine? How will it affect other countries? Everything is uncertain. In the latest reports, it is said that Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky is urging NATO to impose a no-fly zone in Ukraine. But NATO, on the other hand, has not imposed a no-fly zone so far. Why? Why NATO is helpless and stepping back? That's a big question. But before going to that, we need to know what a no-fly zone is. Let's take a look. In these times, we have been getting several new information regarding the conflicts, like what are bunkers, what is Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, what is NATO, what is their role, etc. And recently, you might have listened to the word no-fly zone. At this point of crisis in Ukraine, the word no-fly zone is very much important because Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky pleaded with NATO for the declaration of a no-fly zone. Basically, a no-fly zone is a geographical area established by a military power over which certain aircraft are not permitted to fly. If any such restricted aircraft crosses the area violating the rules, especially during the conflicts, then the respective country can order for a military action. This type of action was established in the 1990s. However, maintaining the no-fly zone in a particular area is not so easy. They are costly, they require constant air patrolling and monitoring. But there will be a surety that the effects of the invasion by the rival country will be less. The same is with Ukraine also. When a no-fly zone is declared in Ukraine by NATO, then the Russian airplanes will no longer be able to fly over Ukrainian cities. NATO would prevent Russia from winning the air superiority and would protect Ukrainian civilians. It is at this point Zelensky kept on asking NATO to impose a no-fly zone in Ukraine because he says that it would protect not only Ukraine but the countries of the Atlantic Alliance from Russian air attacks. Zelensky said closing the sky is a much safer step to fight with Russia, and many other leaders are also echoing for the same. But NATO is not giving its green signal. It is not imposing a no-fly zone in Ukraine. Why? The reason is very clear. NATO is avoiding Zelensky's request to just avoid a war-like situation. If NATO is trying to help Ukraine, they would have to shoot down Russian aircrafts. This means that NATO will have to directly declare a conflict with Russia, paving the way for a full-fledged war in Europe. Once at least one aircraft gets shot down by NATO, then it's unpredictable what happens next. And NATO doesn't want this to happen. At the same time, the US also stands with NATO and says that this could trigger a direct conflict with Russia. Biden administration has ruled out the imposition of this. Moreover, the point we need to note here is that Ukraine is still not a member of NATO. So if Russia, a very high opponent, comes and fight with NATO, then they will have to combat the issue and the impact will be large than we believe. Also, we cannot actually compare the Russian military and Ukraine military at any cost because the Russian military is far more powerful. Russia has more than 10 times the number of fighter aircraft as Ukraine, which means Russia could take up the air superiority over Ukraine. So far, Russia has not taken the air superiority over Ukraine, but there is a chance that Putin is not going to sit freely. Russia could win the air superiority soon because they think it is the fastest way to invade Ukraine. As this process is still continuing, Ukraine itself is taking steps to fight back, and many other countries are also helping them with weapons so that Ukraine ground troops can use them to shoot Russian aircraft. However, there are some countries where no-fly zones have been implemented in the past by NATO and US. Iraq in 1992 during the First Gulf War, Bosnia in 1993 to protect the country from Bosnian Serb forces, Libya in 2011 after uprising from Muammar Gaddafi. So the uncertainties still exist. Many European countries and US are looking forward to know NATO's decision on this matter. What if NATO doesn't support Ukraine? How is Ukraine going to face the situation and the Russian air superiority? All eyes to Ukraine.